Darn it. I cannot believe I left the sound off this whole time. That's ridiculous. I am a bad boy. Now there'll be sound. My mistake. All right. So everything I said was lapach. All right, we'll start from verse 3 then. Vayishlach Yaakov milachim lifanav el Esau achiv arza sa'ir ste Edom. So, well, one of the first things I said is that I have a cold. So excuse me. I'll try to get through the study as best I can, but I have a cold. So, Torah muscle. Is that my friend David? Torah muscle. Identify yourself without saying your last name. Is that David from Brooklyn? I'm not sure who it is. Okay. Anywho, before I so rudely interrupted myself, Vayishlach Yaakov melachim lefanav el Esav achiu arza seir sde Edom. So we spoke about a whole bunch of things. Oh God, I'm really pissed off that the sound wasn't on, because I said a lot of things that I would have wanted people to hear. Okay. Anyway, Yaakov sent angels, or messengers, I should say, right? So we said that Malachei Elohim means literally messengers of God, as we saw in the previous verse. Usually translated as angels, but Malachim are just messengers from the underlying root la'ach, and I tried to look up the root la'ach. I can't remember. I'm having a brain burp. Maybe it's a nice way of saying it. I can't remember. I think la'ach means to do or to go. I can't remember which of the two it is, so I'm not going to look it up now. I tried to, and I couldn't find it. So, but mil'acha means a task that one has to do, work. It's often translated. So milachim are those who do your tasks, those who do your work. A messenger. Okay. So he's sending a messenger, or messengers, to his brother, to the land of Seir, the field of Edom, right? So we know that Esau lives in the land of Edom, based on the fact that he is associated with the color red, right? For two reasons that were mentioned in the Torah, and we've said many times that names, whether they're names of people or names of places, often have multiple reasons given why they have those names. So the same with Edom. Esau is born ruddy, right? He's born red, and in addition, we have him buying the red lentil stew from Yaakov. So Esau is always associated with being red, and he's also associated with being hairy, right? Hence the Har Seir, or the land of Seir. So his land is named after his two attributes. He's red and he's hairy, and we saw this in I think it was 2 weeks ago's Parsha, when Yaakov and Esau were born. Okay. Anywho, so ויצא אותם לאמור כה תאמרון לאדוני לעשו כה אמר עבדך יעקב עם לבן גרתי והר עד עתה. So he commands his messengers to say כה תאמרון לאדוני לעשו. So he's, as I mentioned before, Yaakov is being very deferential. He's being very polite and deferential. He's calling Esau his master, La'adoni. He's also calling himself, in the same verse, Abdecha, your servant. So there are a number of reasons for this. Number one, Yaakov is clearly deathly afraid of Esau and wants to be extra deferential to him. Number two, as I mentioned before my sound was corrected, Esau at the end of the day is the older brother, right? Even though Yaakov Akav Oto, he passed him, held onto his heel, and eventually surpassed him, taking the birthright from him. Still, Esau is the older brother, and that's the way people spoke to their elders, even if it's only by a couple of minutes, right? And number three, this is just the way people spoke to each other in these times. They spoke to each other very deferentially. But certainly, I think there's extra deferentialness going on here, because clearly, oh God, sorry. Clearly, Esau is Yaakov is very scared of Esav. Okay, that was verse 4. So 32:4. Let's get a Robert Alter on that one. 32:4. One second here. And we could do a little, maybe an Ibn Ezra on that one. We'll see. 32:4. We'll keep it simple. We'll just do it at Robert Alter for now. So Genesis 32. 4. Keep the translation over here, the commentary over here. And let's see what we got. So Jacob sent messengers before him. These are, of course, human messengers, but in keeping with a common principle of composition in the biblical narrative, the repetition of the term affects a linkage with the immediately preceding episode in which the messengers, malachim, are angels. So we sort of pointed that out, right? We said that over here, it spoke about malachi Elohim, messengers of God, and here Yaakov is sending human messengers. So there's that kind of theme. We also saw that in the Wikipedia article from Mahanaim that one of the reasons given that the place is called Mahanaim, right? So he's in Mahanaim, is that his camp meets God's camp, right? It's Machane Elohim, and it's also his Machane, so it's two camps, Yaakov's camp and God's camp. I don't know if that's where they're getting that idea from, but that was mentioned in the Wikipedia article. An interesting idea. Okay, Robert Alter, does he have anything else to say? Well, we can read 5. Thus shall you say. The syntactic division indicated by the cantillation markings in the Masoretic text is, thus shall you say to my lord Esau. But E.A. Spicer has convincingly demonstrated that to my lord Esau, thus says your servant Jacob, precisely follows the formula for the salutation or heading in ancient Near Eastern letters, and so must be part of the text of the message. Interesting. Okay, that's an interesting one. So in other words, what Robert Alter is saying, quoting E.A. Spicer, is that what is said to Esav starts, where is it? Kotomarun Adoni la Esav starts here. So you shall say to my master, to Esav. It's kind of a technical point, I guess, but whatever. Okay. My lord Esau, your servant Jacob, the narrator had referred to Esau as Jacob's brother, as will the messengers. An elaborate irony of terms underlies the entire reunion of the twins. Jacob, destined by prenatal oracle and paternal blessing to be overlord to his brother, who is to be subject, Eved, to him, repeatedly designates himself Eved and his brother Lord. The formulas of deferential address of ancient Hebrew usage are thus made to serve a complex thematic end. Okay, cool. Good enough. And we gave a couple of reasons why I think that Esav is being so deferential. I mean, that Yaakov is being so deferential. We gave 3 reasons, right? So number 1, that's just the way people spoke in the ancient Near East to each other in formal settings, especially. And this is kind of a formal setting. Number 2. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, I guess just take a. I guess just take a. I guess take a plastic cup. Yeah. Komar Avdecha Yaakov. Number 2 reason. We're not. It's all the way in the back on the right hand side. Number 2 reason is that Yaakov is deathly afraid of Esav, and number 3 reason is that Esav is, at the end of the day, still Yaakov's older brother. Okay. So Yaakov explains that he's been with Lavan until now, right? It's 20 years later. Wahili Shor Hamor Son or Eved. We explained how even though it's in the singular represents plurality. Maybe like in the English, the example I thought of is blood, right? Even though blood is many cells, we just use the singular. Not the best example, but one I can think of offhand. So literally it says, if I were to read it, literally it says, "Vayili shor v'hamor tzon va'eved v'shifcha," and I possessed, or I got into the possession of, I acquired, literally ox and donkey and sheep and slave, or in manservant and maidservant. But of course it means in the plurality, right? We see this right here, obviously, that's all it can mean from the context. And we see, therefore, this is an example how we could see how the singular is used to represent the totality or the plurality. Okay, so he's saying, I got a lot of stuff, I'm loaded. Wa'ishlaha lahagid la adoni limso hayn be'aineha. And I've sent them. What? What? For now, yeah. Go ahead. And I'm sending them, or I'm actually, Ishlaha is, I guess it's referring to the messengers, right? Let's see how Robert Alter deals with that. And I send ahead, he deals with it, right? So there's no subject, there's no object here, Washlaha. So it's really Wa'ishlach. The hey at the end is just kind of poetic, or I guess just to keep the cadence going. So Wa'ishlach, Ishlacha la'agid, so I'm sending word, I'm sending messengers in this case, even though it doesn't, again, there's no object to the sentence here. So I'm sending word to tell my master, again, that's Yaakov addressing Esav, so that to find favor in your eyes, right? So so basically that's what Yaakov wants to say to Esav. I have a lot of stuff and I'm trying to make up here, okay? All right. So verse 6. Well, verse 6. Wa yashuvu hamelachim el Yaakov lemor ba'anu el achicha el Esau וגם הולך לקראתך וארבע מאות איש עמו. So the messengers returned to Yaakov and said, we came to your brother, to Esav, and he's coming, and behold, or believe it or not, he's coming towards you, or also he's coming towards you, and he's 400 men with him. So that does not sound good, right? Let's get a little commentary on that one. That's a good way of translating it. Okay, there's no verbal response from Esav, who has by now established himself as a potentate in the Transjordan region of Edom. But the rapid approach with 400 men looks ominous, especially since that is a standard number for a regiment or raiding party, as several military episodes in 1 and 2 Samuel indicate. Oh, that's an interesting point. Also, how many men was it that Abraham had trained? That was 300, right? Abraham trained 300 men. Born in his house 318. Okay, so that's not exactly 400, but it's close. Alrighty. So so that doesn't sound good. That's not looking too good. So Yaakov is obviously freaking out. Yaakov me'od יצר לו ויחץ את העם אשר איתו ואת הצאן ואת הבקר והגמלים לשני מחנות. So Yaakov was very afraid, and it caused him tsuris, it caused him pain, it caused him, how do they translate here? Stressed. There we go. It stressed him. Wayahatz it'am. So he divided in half. Hatzi is to divide specifically into two. Or maybe it's not specifically into two. In modern Hebrew, I would imagine is, let's see, primitive root, to cut or split in two. Zed? Zed? Okay. Zidim relate to. Okay, interesting. At any rate, so yeah, I think Hatz is specifically to split into two. In modern Hebrew, for sure it is, right? Hatzi means half. But I do like to check just to make sure the biblical meanings are the same as divide, divided, live out, half, parceled, reaches, separated. Well, let's see. Let's look from the context here. V'chatz ta'am, me'ot ish, v'chatz yaladim. Okay. Et hamet v'chatzun. So into two parts. El shehatza Moshe. Okay. Let's look at Judges 7:16. So here we have proof that chatzi or yichatz does not mean to divide into half, right? So this is always very important to check because we have meanings that come to us as modern Hebrew speakers, of which I am, that come to us through modern Hebrew, and the meanings in the biblical Hebrew might be different, but we're just going to assume they're the same. We don't even think to check it, especially if it makes sense in the context. Okay, so here we have what seems to be proof. We have in Judges 7:16. So this is speaking about. Let's bring it up here. So this is speaking about Gidon, right? We know his army was reduced down to 300 that were chosen by those who lay down and lapped the water rather than bent on their knees. And was it 7? So now he's taking these 300 men. 7. Which verse was it? 16. So he's taking these 300 men. ويحتز את 300 האיש 3 רעשים וייתן שופרות ביד כולם וקדים רקים ולפידים בתוך הקדים. So he's taking these 300 men and he's splitting them into 3 companies, basically, right? So this would seem to imply, and it's using the word yahatz, right? The same as the word hatzi, okay? So this would imply that it doesn't mean necessarily to cut into 2 or to half, that it means just to divide in general, right? And if we had more time, we'd explore it further, but that's as far as we're going to go on that one. Okay. יחץ העם אשר איתו ואת הסאון ואת הבקר והגמלים לשני מחנות. So he takes the people that are with him and divides them into 2 camps, as he does with the bakar. So bakar, we're getting specific translations, right? Where's our animal list? Bakar is the herd animals, which are bulls and cows, right? And excuse me, Gimalim are the camels, Lishne Machanot. So he divides them to 2 camps, and I guess again that would imply that Yahatz just means divide in general, because if it just meant to divide into 2, you probably wouldn't have to say Lishne Machanot, although it might anyway, because the Torah is not always terse; it can sometimes be verbose. Why Yomer im Yavo Esau el Hamahane Ha ihad wahi. Wahi kahu wahaya hamahane ha nishar lifleta. So he says if Esav comes to attack one camp, then the second one can run away, can escape. Okay, so he's definitely preparing for war. All right, let's see if we can get a little bit more commentary to mix things up. Anybody have any questions or comments at this point? Yes, no, maybe so. All right, so we are in verse 9. Two camps. So for verse 8, Robert Alter says, a law of binary division runs through the whole Jacob story. Twin brothers struggling over a blessing that cannot be had. Two sisters struggling over a husband's love. Flocks divided into unicolored and party-colored animals. Jacob's material blessing now divided into two camps. Okay. That's nice. Okay, so that was verse 9. Verse 9. No, we didn't read verse 9. Now we're up to verse 9. Why Yomer Yaakov, Elohei Avi, Avraham, or Elohei Avi, Yitzhak, Yahweh, Ha, Omer Elai, Shuv La'artzecha, Le'moladetecha, Wa'itiva, Imach. So Yaakov calls out to God, and he says, God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, Yahweh, and calls out, he uses the name Yahweh, which apparently was not given to the Israelites. Oh God. All right, we know until Exodus in the beginning of the book of Exodus, Exodus chapter 3, right? So what's going on here? I don't know. I don't have a good answer. I've heard a lot of different answers. None of them are really convincing to me. So one answer is, of course, that this is written retroactively, that when the Torah is written down, at the end of Moses' life, it retrojects. I think that's the word. I think I've heard that around people who think they're very smart, like to use that word. But basically, it retrojects, it injects retroactively the name Yahweh. Another possibility is I would say maybe that's one of the most likely explanations. Another possibility is that, but this is like a quote, right? So, oops. So another possibility is that the patriarchs did know the name Yahweh, but they didn't know that was the name, right? They had different names for God, as it says again in Exodus 3. Your father's name is El Shaddai, so that seems to be the common name that was called, right? El Elyon, El Kol Ruchot, etc. Actually, that's later, but at any rate, so perhaps they knew of the name Yahweh, but they didn't know that was the name. They just thought that was another name of Yahweh, of God. Anyway, those are some explanations. There are others as well, but to me, it's still a big mystery, honestly. Okay, so that's that. Okay, Omer Elai. Yeshuv l'artzecha. So he calls out to God, Yahweh, and he says, one second. Elohei Avi Avraham, Elohei Avi Yitzchak, Yahweh, Omer Elai. You, God, all right, who is saying to me, Shuv l'artzecha, u'lemoladetecha, u'etiva imach, and I will be good to you. So where did God say this? So a couple of very, I think, interesting points to make this part of the verse. So first of all, where did God say? Let's see English quickly. Okay. Here. Genesis 31:3 is where God says, go back to the land of your fathers. Okay, so let's look at this in the Hebrew. 31:3 Hebrew. Okay, ויאמר יחווה אל יעקב שוב אל ארץ אבותיך ולמולדתך ואהיה עמך, right? So Jacob is, Lavan is giving Jacob a hard time, and that's when God intervenes and says, time to get the heck out of here, all right? So another interesting thing I wanted to point out, right? Doesn't this remind us of the kind of the opposite of what God said to Abraham? So let's take a look. That's going to be 12. Here. Yes, 12. So let's look at the Hebrew here. So this is when God originally speaks to Abraham, the first time that God ever speaks to Abraham, right? And what does he say to Abraham? Who's called Avram at the time. ויאמר יהוה אל אברהם, לך לך מארצך וממולדתך ומבית אביך אל הארץ אשר אראך. Go from your land, your birthplace. It's not really his birthplace, right? Because Abram was not born there in Haran at this point, but it's essentially saying, I guess, from your, well, we're not getting into it. I spoke about it in another thing. I don't want to ruin the main message I'm saying here. From the house of your father, okay? Go from your land, from your birthplace, from your father's house, okay? Now, shuv la'atzacha ulemoladetka, okay? Return to your land and to your birthplace, right? To the land of Israel. Yaakov was born in the land of Israel. And I will be with you, or I will do good things for you, okay? So it's kind of like the same language, right? Okay, shuv la'atzacha. Well, actually, this is referring back to Genesis 31. So let's bring that up for a second. Where he actually says it. So that was 31:3. Okay, when you marry Yahweh el Yaakov, shuv el eretz avotecha ulemoladetecha ulemoladetecha wa'ihye imach. Right, so return to the land of your fathers and to your birthplace. Very similar to go from your land, from your birthplace, and from the house of your father, right? So I don't know if the Torah is doing this on purpose, but just as Abraham was called to go away from his land, from his birthplace, from the house of his father, so now Yaakov, who had to flee, is being called to go back to his land, to his birthplace, to the house of his father, right? Okay, I wonder if Robert Alter picks up on that one. Verse 9. No. So here's a comment in verse 10. Oops. And I will deal well with you. Maybe there's a difference that sometimes happens. The numbering is a bit different. So I think it is referring to this verse 9, what we're calling 9. The first part of the sentence is in fact a direct location from God's words to Jacob in 31:3, deleting of your fathers. But for God's general reassurance, I will be with you. Jacob, in keeping with his stance as a bargainer, with Bethel stipulated that God must provide food and clothing, substitutes a verb that suggests material bounty. So let's see something here. So here's 10. Yeah, so the numbering system is a little bit different, which is going to mess us up a bit, but it's okay, right? So he does mention, so Robert Alter does harken back to 31:3, which we saw, but he doesn't harken back to Genesis chapter 12, 1, which is the same language we see Abraham being told to leave, and now Yaakov being told to come back. Okay, so let's go on. Verse 10. קטונתי מכל החסדים ומכל האמת אשר עשית את עבדך כי במקלי עברתי את הירדן הזה ועתה הייתי לשני מחנות. Okay, so katonti, mikol hachasadim, this is of course, we see the same phrase in the famous song Jerusalem of Gold. Katonti mi, I forgot the words now. Let's play it. Why not? We'll take a little musical break. Let's do that. Oh, it's gotta be the original. There we go. All right, musical break. One second. Let's do this differently.
ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, אנו לכל שירייך אני ואין פוקדת הר הבית בעיר העתיקה ובמערות אשר בסלע מהלילות רוחות ואין יורד אל ים המלח בדרך יריחו ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת אני כינור ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור הלא לכל שירייך אני כינור אך בבואי היום לשיר לך ולך לקשור כתרים קטונתי מצעיר בנייך ומאחרון אל המשורר.
So there is Katonti meets Banayach Ume Acharon HaMeshorerim. Katonti, I'm not worthy. Meets Banayach from the youth of your sons. Let's go back. And from the latest or the latter poets, songwriters. So there it is, Katonti. She takes that word. Actually, she's a singer. In the song, we see that same idea. All right, let's play to the end.
ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור עלו לכל שירייך אני כינור ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור עלו לכל שירייך אני
Okay, so to bring it back to what we're doing. Let's do it this way, share screen, window, Twitter. And there we go. Okay, so there's that same word, katonti, right? Katonti mikol hasadim. All right, so let's see how it's usually translated. I translate it as I'm not worthy of all. Yeah, I am unworthy, right? Katonti, literally from the word katan. I'm too small, right? This is too great for me. I'm too small for all of the hasadim, all the kindness, and we call ha'emet, and the truth, asher. So now this is again Yaakov speaking to God. Again, sorry, I have a cold, so I'm struggling through the best I can here. Asher asita et avdecha ki b'makli avarti et ha'yarden hazeh wa'ata hayiti lishnei mahanot. So, in other words, you've been so kind for me. I'm not worthy of all this kindness you've done to me, because when I crossed Jordan, meaning 20 years ago when Yaakov was fleeing from Esau, I had ki b'makli. I had only my staff. He had nothing. And now I have two camps. And here we have this theme again, shnei machanot. This harkens back to the name of the place, right? Machanayim, right? Machanayim also means two camps. There, the camps are referring to either, so Machane Elohim, okay? So we know that that when God is referred to in the plural, like Elohim, okay? So he calls the place Mahanaim, right? So maybe again, that's kind of like a, keeping with that theme of calling God using the plural word Elohim. So the place is called Mahanaim. And then we read also that it was suggested that really what it means is that the two camps are God's camp and Esau's and Yaakov's camp, which are both together in the same place. And at any rate, now we pick up on that theme. Okay, Yaakov has separated all of his people and possessions into two camps. So he has two camps, and that's Machanayim, Shnei Machanot. Okay, so we have themes. We see this again. We've seen this so many times in the Torah that themes are picked up upon, and then they last throughout, a couple of verses, a paragraph, a chapter, sometimes longer, right? So here the theme is clearly two camps, right? Name of the place is Machanayim. Yaakov is separating into Shnei Machanot. Okay, it's the camp of God. Machane Elohim. Elohim is in the plural. Machanaim is also not in the plural, but in the dual, close enough. And and both Yaakov's camp and God's camp are there at the same place because it's the camp of God. So we're getting this theme again and again of two camps, two camps, two camps. Excuse me. Okay, verse 11. Hasileni na mi yad ahi miyad Esau ki yare anochi oto pen yavo wa hikani em al banim. Okay. So, save me, please, from the hand of my brother. So this is again Yaakov speaking to God. From the hand of Esau, ki yare anochi oto pen, because I fear him, lest he comes and hikeni em al banim, and he slaughters me, mothers and children together. Just had a thought. So this same phrase, not that it necessarily means anything, but let's check it out. Im al banim. So where is that located? Deuteronomy 22:6. So let's check that out. That's not the way I wanted to do it. Let's try this again. Deuteronomy 22:6. Deuteronomy 22:6. Here. Lo tikach ha'em al habanim. Okay, so this is the in Deuteronomy 22. This is the law of, well, if you're going to take the eggs, you have to shoo the mother bird away first. I won't go through the whole law, okay? But we'll just read right here. V'ha'em rovetzet al ha'efrochim. If the mother is hovering over, or hovering over the chicks, or al habitzim, or over the eggs. Lo tikach ha'em al habanim. Okay, so do not take the. Well, it's unclear what this phrase actually means. It's usually meant, well, I guess this shalech tishlach et ha'em wa et habanim tikach. So you don't take the mother with the babies together, okay? With the chicks or the eggs together, okay? You shoo away the mother, and then you could take the chicks, okay? There's a lot to say about this. Maybe I'll say one or two more things about it. But the point I want to say here is we have exactly the same phrase, okay? Keni here, Yaakov says, Yaakov is afraid that Esau is going to come. Wahikeni aim al banim, that they're gonna basically do the same thing that we're told not to in Deuteronomy 26 with regards to birds, right? You don't kill the mother and the children together, right? And that's exactly what Yaakov is worried about. He's worried that his entire progeny is going to be wiped out, right? Because if the children are only killed, then I guess the mothers can make more children. Excuse me. Or if the mothers are killed, then the children already are there. But if you kill the mothers and the children, you're wiping out the entire progeny. Okay. Here, the same thing. Maybe it has something to do with that. But I think this is more related to, okay, this idea of respect for motherhood. Okay, we have a number of laws which are relevant. Okay, so obviously there's lo tivashel gedi b'chalev imo. You don't cook a kid in its mother's milk. That would involve basically, killing them both more or less on the same day. And we also have an explicit mitzvah about not killing. Let's find that. Do not kill kid. I think it's a kid. It's okay. It's up. Yikes. Okay. No. No. Do not kill a, how do you call it again? A calf. What am I? Killer? Oh boy. What am I doing? It's not coming up. Torah. What's going on here? Oh, I'm on books. That's why. Press the wrong button. Okay, so where is this? Deuteronomy 22. Oh, so it's right there, right? Deuteronomy 22:4. One second. No. Let's try this again. Ouch. Same day, same day. Leviticus 22:28. There we go. So let's grab that. Leviticus 22:28. Okay, so these are offerings, right? Leviticus is mostly has to do with sacrifices, right? Ushor or se. Okay. Oto wa'et beno lo tishhatu bayom echad. Okay, so you don't kill a shor. Let's get our official definition. So we're calling a shor. Where's our shor? One of the herd. And a se is, where's our se? Oops. Se is one of the flock. Okay, so one of the herd, basically meaning cows and bulls. One of the flock, sheep or goats. So you don't kill one of the herd or one of the flock and its son, okay, on the same day. And it's clearly speaking about the mother, right? There's no connection between the father and the son, right? In the animal world, for the most part. Having just finished my master's degree in marine biology and specializing in sperm whales, I can say that there is no connection whatsoever between the even in sperm whales, which are very, very intelligent creatures. In fact, they have the largest brain of any animal that ever lived, today or in the past. No animals had a larger brain than the sperm whale. And when the sperm whales are young, they're cared for by females, by their mothers and other females in groups called pods or social units. And the fathers just basically, once they reach adolescence, disappear from the pod, and slowly as they get older, go off, and they just basically become lone animals. So even in intelligent animals such as the sperm whale, the father does not care for the children. There are some animals that do. What was it, March of the Penguins, right? I think it was the father that waits while the mother goes, or they take turns. I can't remember. It's been a while since I saw March of the Penguins. At any rate, so we see here a very similar law, right? Don't kill an animal and its child on the same day. Slaughter it on the same day. That, in my opinion, is respect for motherhood. There's something sick about, just wiping out. It's like genocide, right? Wiping out an entire family, right? It's kind of like what the Nazis did. Over here in Deuteronomy 22:6, we also see that you don't take the mother with the children. You shoo away the mother, and then you can take the children, but you don't take them both. We saw lo tivashel gedi, but we didn't see it, but we mentioned lo tivashel gedi b'chaylev imo. Do not seethe or cook a kid. Let's find gedi. Do we have gedi here on our list? No, I don't even have it. Interesting. I'll have to edit, but not now. Okay. A kid in its mother's milk. So there's this respect, right, for motherhood, right? You don't kill on the same day. But specifically in Deuteronomy 22:6, the phrase that's used is Lo tikach ha'em ha'em al ha'banim. Don't take the mother together with the children. And this is exactly, getting back to our parsha, this is exactly what Yaakov is afraid of. He's afraid that Esav is going to come. Wahikeni em al banim. He uses the same phrase, that he'll strike me down, mothers and children together, right? So it's just interesting the way that all kind of relates together. Okay. Verse 12, Ata Amarta Etev Etiv Imach Wasamti Et Zer Echa Kechol Hayam Asher Lo Yisafer Merov. So basically, Yaakov is reminding God of his promises, basically, right? That was the deal that God made, that Yaakov made with God. Basically, well, kind of, not exactly the same, but when Yaakov was at Beit El on his way out, right? He said, "If you give me food and you give me raiment and you give me and you return me to my father's house in peace, then I will follow your ways, and I will tithe to you." Right. So that's basically what he's quoting, is the phrase, is the promise that he made, or this promise that he and God, that he and Yahweh mutually made at Bethel when Yaakov was on his way out of the land of Israel towards Padan Aram, towards Haran. Okay. So Yaakov is reminding, not that God has forgotten, but this is the way things are done. You state, right? Yaakov is, having a conversation with God, and he's stating, what's up. That's maybe a way to put it. Okay, let me close out these. Let's get a little bit of Robert Alter on this one. So that was 12. I think the numbering is different here. Okay, so no commentary there. We can do an Ibn Ezra. Let's do an Ibn Ezra, one or two. Oh, yeah. So that's Genesis 29. Let's go back. Tanakh. Ibn Ezra is a great commentator, unlike Rashi, as I say just about every week. So we're in Genesis 32, 12. Let's see what he might have to say. And just to save time, I'll read the English. So 32. That's a long one. Let's go to this one. I am not worthy. Katonti, I am not worthy, is vocalized like Yacholti. I have prevailed in Gam Yacholti. Genesis 30. Oops, let's see if I can highlight this in. Genesis 38. Let's take a look at that for a second. Oh, God. Right here. So that's when Naphtali is being named. Gam Yachoti. Right? So it's very interesting. I just realized something. So we read this verse, getting a little bit off track, but that's the way I like to do these studies. I like to kind of wander around a bit. Not too much, but a bit. So Rachel So now Rachel has given Bilhah, and now Yaakov gives birth to the second son through Bilhah, and Rachel says, Rachel, Naftule Elohim niftalti. They usually translate this as the wrestlings or the twistings. Let's see how they translate it here. Hold on a second. The wrestlings of God I have wrestled with my sister. Gam yacholti. So it's very interesting, but here, the wrestlings of God, I've wrestled with my sister, and I have overcome, or I have come up above, right? I've come up on top. But this is very similar to where Yisrael, where Yaakov gets his name Yisrael, right? V'sata im Elohim, I'm misquoting it, but Sata im Adam Elohim v'yacholta, right? You've struggled with man and with God, and you've succeeded. And Rachel seems to be saying the same kind of thing. She struggled, the struggles of God, and with her sister, and she succeeded. She overcame, or she came out on top. It's very interesting, but it's almost like Rachel is also, getting that or saying that same thing about her that is later said about Yaakov, that he struggles with man and God, and yacholta, and succeeds. It's the same word that was used, yacholti here and yacholta there. I hope I'm making myself clear, because I don't want to sit around and go to all those verses, but it's just a point I thought of. Okay. Right, we were in the Ibn Ezra. So, katonti, he's explaining how it's vocalized. Katonti is vocalized like yacholti. Okay, the meaning of our verse is, I am insignificant and of little worth for you to have done all these merciful deeds to me. I've already explained the meaning of mercy and truth. Matam pachut ani v'katan ad shta'aseh imi kol hasadim v'kvar pirashti chesed v'emet. So basically, Ibn Ezra is very correctly explaining how to pronounce katonti and the meaning of it from the word katan. Right? Excuse me. Okay. Verse 32:12. Kani. And smite me applies to two phrases. It is similar to, and Shaul's son had two men that were captains of the band. Okay, so he's making a grammatical point. Our verse should be read as follows: and smite me, and smite the mother and the children. I'm gonna have to think about what he's saying here. Smite me applies to two phrases. Okay, I see what he's saying. Misharet. Atzmo. Okay. All right. So basically, what Ibn Ezra is saying here, and this is regarding. Where was it? Right. So it's referring to this phrase "wahikeni em albanim," and what Ibn Ezra is saying. Let's read it again. And smite me applies to two phrases. Okay. Our verse should be read as follows: and smite me, and smite the mother and the children. Right. So wahikeni em albanim. So the smite is referring to me, hikeni, and also to mothers and children, to two different. So the verb lahakot takes two different objects. One is me, meaning Yaakov, who's speaking, and the other is the mothers the mothers and the children together. Okay, and Ibn Ezra brings a proof verse, which is 2 Samuel 4:2, and here we have a note. The Hebrew literally reads, and two men captains of the bands were son of Saul, i.e. says that captains should be read as if written twice, and two men captains of bands were captains of Shaul's son. So he's as usual, the Ibn Ezra is finding other verses with similar grammatical points. I'm not going to go to that verse, but that's the point he's making, that here basically Ikeni wahika em albanim, I think is really what he's saying. That really the verb should appear twice. Wahikeni wahika em albanim. It smite me and smite mothers on children. All right, let's go on. Verse 12. Any comments, by the way? Anyone have anything they want to say? Anybody? Whoa. Oops. What am I gonna do? Okay. So does anyone have any comments or questions? No? Okay, let's go on. So verse 12. Wi'ata amarta hitiv. Oh, we read this already. So you said that you're going to do good for me and that you're going to make my seed. Seed is related to sperm, to the seed. It always refers to the male line descendants, which are that's the line. That's the way lineage is determined in the Torah. The rabbis change it to the mother. It is not the mother, it's the father. Okay. Verse 13. So he's still Machanayim. Wayalin Sham, but Laila Hahu Wayikah Min Heba Bi Yado Minha Le'Esau Achiu. And 1 second, please. And he dwelled there, or he slept there that night. And he took from all of that which had come into his hand, meaning from his possession, he put together a gift, a donation or a gift to Esau, his brother. Okay, verse 14. Izim ma etayim yashim asrim rehalim ma etayim wa'elim isrim. So 200 izim is goat. Tayash, do we have it on our list? No, we don't. So we can take this chance to add it. Let's do one thing very quickly here. Okay, so Tayashim. Okay, let's add. So a Tayash is a male goat. A male goat is a Tayash. That's pretty clear. Let's grab this. Oops. Bring it over here. Hello. Oh, shoot. There goes the internet. Hello. I think there's a problem with the internet. Okay, I think we're back. So we are in Genesis 32:14. And we're doing it like this. So it's a goat. Male, age, any, species or categories, goats. Comments, let's see. Let's look at this again. So it only occurs 4 times, at least in this form. Izim Matayim, okay. Okay. So Hahu, this is Hahu et the Tayashim Akudim. So this is when Yaakov uses the spotted sticks. to basically make himself a big flock and take the flock away from Lavan. Second Chronicles, Shiva Me'ot, Utayshim Shiva Alafim. I'm not sure what that's referring to. I think it's referring to actually when the slaughters that were done for the Beit Yahweh, for the temple of God. But let's just see for 1 second. 17. No, it's not. 1711. Okay, so let's see Hoshaphat. Okay, so Proverbs Matnaim Otayash Umelech Hakum. Matnaim Otayash Umelech Alkum. We have to go check that out. All right, let's not go down that route. I'm just going to list this here. So Tayash is a male goat. Okay, according to the BDB. Noun masculine, a he goat. And it lists a bunch of different places. Okay, so, and then we also have Rachelim. The same, of course, as the same word as Yaakov's wife Rachel. And let's just take a look at this. So Rachel is a you, and it only appears in, again, in a couple of places. So Rachel is a you. I'll add that to the list. Rachel. And what the heck is a ewe? I believe that's a female goat, but I'm just going to look it up. That's exactly why I'm doing this list. A female sheep. Let's try it one more time. Sheep. Sheep are called rams, the females ewes, and the immature animals lambs. So here we go. Sheep are, I'll just even take this. Grab it. So. That again. Okay, so if that's the case, so the females are used. So this is a sheep, very specifically, we said. Not a goat, it seems just a sheep. He goat. He goat, I'll call that. Do we call this a she-sheep? I don't think that works. A she-sheep? No, we'll just call it a sheep. Sheep. Oh, shoot, what happened here? What is going on? Just give me a second here. It's a problem with the internet. Reconnecting, it says. Okay, 1 second, please. This up. Okay, I guess we're back. Kind of, hopefully. So, okay, this is a Rachel. So this is a female sheep. Female. It's adult. I'll just put any sheep. So there we go. So it's a he goat and a female sheep. Okay, so where were we? So that's the gift, okay? Verse 15 goes on. Gimalim, menikot. So suckling, not suckling, and the mothers, I guess, nursing. Nursing, what's the word? It's the opposite. The young are the ones that are nursing. Nursing mothers, yeah, nursing. So nursing camels, uvanehem, and their children, or their camelets, shloshim, parot arba'im, etc. We get the idea, all right? A bunch of different animals. Let's make sure, do we have a ton on our list? I just want to add to the list if we don't have anything. Ton, do I have a ton? I do have a ton. A ton is a female donkey, a she-ass. And ayarim, we have that on our list. Let's see. Yep, we do. It's a male, a young donkey, a young and vigorous male donkey. It's a ayr. And we can just add this. No, all we need is one. I'll just, let's see, should we put it? Ayarim, Genesis 32. Okay, good enough. Asara, okay. Wayiten. Are we online here? I don't even know because I'm getting, jeez. I don't know if we're online or not. I'll go on. Wayiten, biyad. So we're in verse 16. My battery's about to go dead. Everything's happening all at once. All right. Let me put it on this for a second. I'll be right back. I'm going to get the charger, and I think I'm going to end the study rather soon. Anyway, it's getting late here, and I have a cold. No problem. It smells like cheap corn back here. Oh, yeah. What? I'm doing my study. Is the microphone? Yes, it is. going back online. All right, we're back. So here we are. What am I doing? Yeah, you can feed the cats, and then we have to do Lavi's medicine. Okay.
So when you
Soon. I'll finish in 20 minutes or so. Okay. Yeah, I'll just read through here. Oh, there's so much to say. Of course, as usual. Wa'iten biyad vadao aider. Okay, so we should add the word aider as well if we don't already have it in our list. Have the word aider. Sure. So aider is a flock. Let's get an official definition of it. Flock, herd. Of sheep, of goats, including sheep, cattle, etc. So it could be anything. So it's a flock or herd. Aider. All righty, let's add that. Oh, geez, what is wrong with this stupid thing? Unbelievable. Having problems with the internet. Just have to wait. All right, I'm just going to wait. Well, I'll just go on. So I think it records anyway. Okay. Aider, levadon. So he took all of these things and he placed into the hands of his servants. Flock by flock, eder levado, wayomer el awadav ivru lifanai wa reba rewah tasimu ben eder uben eder. Okay. Are we back? No, not on this. Anyway, so basically he divides the flocks up, and we're going to explain in which way he does it. Let's get again a little bit more commentary here. Okay. Verse 14. The Hebrew minha also means gift, and in cultic contexts, sacrifice, but it has the technical sense of a tribute paid by a subject people to its overlord. And everything about the narrative circumstances of this gift indicates it is conceived as the payment of a tribute. Note, for instance, the constellation of political terms in verse 19. They are your servant Jacob's tribute sent to my lord Esau. Okay, good enough. This is still reconnecting. I don't know why. Eder. Okay, so put a space between these different flocks or herds or groups of animals. Verse 17. Wayitzau et ha arishon lemor ki if gashcha Esau ahi wa she el ha lemor lemi ata wa ana telech ulemi elech lifanecha. So he commanded the first one to say, if Esau should run into you, Esau, my brother, should run into you and ask you, who are these, or who do you belong to, and where are you going, and who do you belong to, and where are you going, and who do these animals belong to, or these gifts belong to? Then you shall say, verse 18, wa amarta le'avdecha liYaakov minha hi shiluha la'adoni la'Esau wahine ram hu harenu. So you will say, this belongs to your servant, to Jacob. It is a gift that is sent to my lord, to Esau, and behold, he is coming after us. He's behind us. Okay, let me just see if I can add this. If it's back, it's still not back. Unbelievable. It's just a mistake. Let's try this again. Okay, now it seems to be back. So I'm going to add Eder. Eder. So this is, we said, a flock, herd. Oops. Flock, herd. So this is Genesis. Where is it? Where's this idea? Genesis 32:16. So I guess it could be male or female. Any. And it can be cattle, sheep, or goats. Okay, let's verify that. So it's flock or herd. It's a group of animals, basically, right? Sheep, goats, including sheep, cattle, etc. Okay, flock or herd. Adar, arrangement, a muster of animals. I'll just stick this in. A drove. Stick this in. Okay. And there you have it. Okay, so that's that. And okay, it's getting late here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read with minimal commentary. I hope I never can stick to that, but I'm going to really try. We're just going to try to read through the parsha as much as possible. So what? Yitzau gam et ha sheni gam et hashalishi gam et kol ha'olchim אחרי העדרים לאמור כדבר הזה תדברון אל עשו במוצאיכם אותו. So we know that there's at least more, well, at least four, right? This is 3 and all the others. Verse 20. Oops. Let's try this again. ואמרתם גם הנה עבדך יעקב אחרינו כי אמר אכברה פניו במנחה ההולכת לפני ואחרי כן אראה פניו אולי יישא פני. Okay, אכברה פניו, this is a big thing. I don't have time to go into the whole thing right now, but I will point you to this article if you want to find out more about the meaning of that. And it's Yom Kippur. So here's the article. If you want to find out more about the importance of that phrase, and it has vast importance in the Torah, I'll post it here. But I want to continue reading. So that's that. Okay. I read that already. Verse 21. وَتَأْبُرْ هَمِنْهَا al panao wahu lan balayla hahu b'machane. So he remains back where? In the camp. Machane. Here we have that word again. Machane machanayim. Okay, let's continue. وَيَقَامْ בלילה הוא ויקח את שתי נשיו ואת שתי שפחותיו ואת 11 ילדיו ויעבור את מעבר יבוק. So this is a Jabbok river, we mentioned it before. Okay, it separates, if I remember correctly, the Golan Heights from what comes below it. I guess from modern day Jordan. ויקחם ויעברם את הנחל ויעבר את אשר לו. One second. Okay, so now he's crossing the Jabbok River. Let's just look up very quickly, just to get an idea of where he's crossing. Oh God. Map. So it's the second largest tributary of the lower Jordan River. We gotta have a map here. Sadaka River watershed. So okay, so I guess it's there. There we go. So it's in this area right here. Right? So here's the Golan Heights up here. That's the Jordan River, that's the Kinneret, that's the Golan Heights. And so the river runs like right around there. So basically it looks like, well, the Golan Heights would be here. No, at any rate, you get the idea. Okay, so it's a little bit south. It's a little bit closer to the halfway between the Kinneret and the Dead Sea is where it is. And he's crossing that river. So he's crossing, I guess, in this direction from north to south. He hasn't crossed the Jordan. He's crossing the Jabbok River. Okay, let's read on. Verse 24. ויוותר יעקב oh God לבדו ויאבק איש עמו עד עלות השחר. You could play the Shlomo Carlebach song, but I won't. וירא כי לא יכול לו ויגע בכף ירחו ותקע כף ירך יעקב בהאבקו עמו. Okay, a lot to say there, but we're going to continue. I'll go to the end of the chapter thinking that I'm going to stop. It's getting late. ויאמר שלחני כי עלה השחר ויאמר לו אשלחך כי אם ברכתני. Verse 27. ויאמר אליו מה שמך ויאמר יעקב ויאמר לו יעקב יאמר עוד שמך כי אם ישראל כי, so we mentioned this phrase before, sarita עם אלוהים ועם אנשים ותוכל. Okay, so remember we said the same thing that Rachel said, the similar thing when she was giving birth to, when she was naming Naphtali. A lot to say about these verses, but we just don't have the time. וישאל יעקב ויאמר הגידה נא שמך ויאמר למה זה תשאל לשמי ויברך אותו שם. Verse 30. ויקרא יעקב שם המקום פניאל כי ראיתי אלוהים פנים אל פנים ותנצל נפשי. So Okay, so Jacob has now crossed the Jabbok River. Does that mean he's in the land of Israel already? I guess so. Maybe he crossed the Jordan at the Jabbok. Let's just look at where Penuel is. Where they think it is. On the east of the Jordan River and the south of the river Jabbok in present-day Jordan. So he's still to the east. He's not crossed the Jordan River. He's crossed the Jabbok River. Do we have a map? No, we don't. Okay, but that's where Yaakov wrestles with the angel, calling the place Peniel, because he says, I've seen God face to face, and I'm still alive, basically. Tinatzel nafshi. Okay, one is Rah lo Hashemesh Kasher Avar et Pinuel Wahu Soler al Yerecho. Verse 32. Al ken lo yochlu bnei Israel et yochlu bnei Israel et yid ha nashe asher al kaf ha yarech ad hayom hazeh ki naga bekaf yerech Yaakov begid ha nashe. So what is gid nashe? Nobody really knows. Some people say it's the sciatic nerve. Other people say it is the penis. And nasheh has to do with the word nashim. So that which you use, shall we say, when you're going unto a woman. Let's see what Robert Alter has to say about that one. And then we'll end with that, on that happy note. Okay. Okay. So he says the sinew of the thigh, which is by the hip socket, al kaf yerecho, right? Let's get a little commentary on that. So that's page 376. Oops. So that's verse 33. I'm sure Robert Alter is going to say something about that one. 33. This concluding etiological means determining the source of something. So what's the source of the reason that Israelites don't eat the gid nasheh? It's more than a mechanical reflex. For the first time after the naming story, the Hebrews are referred to as the children of Israel. And this dietary prohibition observed by the audience of the story to this day marks a direct identification with or reverence for the eponymous ancestor who wrestled through the night with a man who was no man. So he doesn't say anything about Gid Nasheh per se. Let's see if Ibn Ezra says anything about Gid Nasheh. Gid Nasheh. So this is what Ibn Ezra says. I'm just going to read the English. The sinew of the thigh vein. The meaning of the term Gid Hanasheh, the sinew of the thigh vein, is known from the tradition received. So, okay. So he's basically saying what the rabbis believe, but I'll read it anyway and transmit it to us by the Talmudic sages. No one but those lacking in understanding and knowledge of nature have any doubt as to its definition. Okay. The latter interpret Gid, sinu to refer to the penis, and hold that Nasheh, thigh vein, comes from the same root as Nashim, women. So that's what I just mentioned. So he's saying you're an idiot if you believe that. I kind of tend to agree with him. This was an anti-rabbinic interpretation that explained the prohibition against eating the Gid and Nasheh as follows. Therefore, the children of Israel do not eat in abnormal intercourse with women. Gid and Nasheh. According to Krinsky, it is this interpretation which Ibn Ezra negates. Okay. When they say anti-rabbinic, I'm wondering if that's a Karaite interpretation. I don't know. At any rate, Ibn Ezra says, no way. Note, the angel that appeared to Jacob was corporeal. This will be explained to you if God will enlighten you in the chapter that begins, for my name is in him. Interesting. Wow, that's an interesting statement. Exodus 23:21. I have to go check that out for 1 second. Shamer mipanav. So, okay, this is there in the desert. Yishamer mipanav ushema bikolo al tamer bo kilo isa li pishachem hishmi bikirbo. Interesting. Okay, I like the way Ibn Ezra relates to that. He's great. He's such a great commentator. I don't always agree 100% with what he says, but he's amazing. He is an amazing, amazing commentator, I have to say. Okay, so we know that that this angel was corporeal. The other thing I wanted to say, and I'll end on this, is I forgot. What did I want to say? I wanted to say something. Right. Yeah, the fact that Robert Alter points out, and we see this phrase a lot in the Torah. Where was his comment? This dietary prohibition is observed by the audience of the story to this day, right? So that's in the Hebrew. Aken lo yichlu b'nei Yisrael et gidan asher al kaf hayerech ad hayom hazeh, right? So this implies that this is, again, this is looking back retroactively from when the Torah is actually written down, whenever that is. I'm not going to get into that long argument at this point, but let's say that at the earliest, at the end of the stay in the desert by Moshe, right? So it's looking backwards. This sheds light on what we saw before when Yaakov says, where was it? When Yaakov here, in verse 9, where Yomer Yaakov, Elohei Avi, Avraham, or Elohei Avi Yitzhak, Yahweh, right? Yaakov calls God Yahweh, even though we're told that the name is not, Yahweh is not revealed until Moshe. And I said one of the explanations for this is retrojected, right? That this is, even though it seems to be a direct quote from Yaakov, that this is hearkening back from the time that the Torah was written down when they already did know the name, right? So again, let's say, I'll take the, what I believe is that at least the Torah was written down at the time of Moshe, or at least Yoshua. And so the name Yahweh was then already known. And so it's retro-injected. It's retroactively mentioned in this verse. And anytime we see the name Yahweh mentioned by Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, anyone, I don't know if Joseph mentions it, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, or anytime before it's revealed to Moshe in Exodus chapter 3, and then it's referring back to not Exodus chapter 3, Exodus chapter 9. No. Is it 3? Yeah, Exodus chapter 3. So it's hearkening back to this. So, okay, with that said, I think we're going to end here. We've gone to the end of chapter 32. Really, this parsha continues until 36. So we'd have 33, 34. It's a long parsha, but I'm going to have to end it here. And I hope you enjoyed the study. So I will say goodbye. This is Hakham Melech Ben Yaakov of the World Alliance of Qara'im, wishing everybody a Shabbat Shalom and a Shavua Tov, depending on where you are in the world. Okay. You have to wait. I'm not done. I'm not done.
אוויר הרים צלול כיין, לריח אורנים, נישא ברוח הערביים עם כל פעמונים. ולתרתימת אילן ואבן שבויה בחלומה, העיר אשר בדד יושבת ובליבה חומה. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, עלו לכל שירייך אני כינור. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, עלו לכל שירייך אני כינור. איך יבשו בורות המים, כיכר השוק ריקה, ואין פוקדת הר הבית בעיר העתיקה. ובמערות אשר בסלע מהלילות רוחות, ואין יורד אל ים המלח בדרך יריחו. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, עלו לכל שירייך אני כינור. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, עלו לכל שירייך אני כינור. אך בבואי היום לשיר לך ולך לקשור כתרים, קטונתי מצעיר בנייך ומאחרון אל המשוררים. כשמך צורבת השפתיים כנשיקת זרף, אם אשכחך ירושלים אשר כולה זהב. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, עלו לכל שירייך אני כינור. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, עלו לכל